Alright, in your travels you may have come across four new Matchbox 9 packs, or 10 packs if you're in the UK or Europe. I bought 2 of them for the exclusives. The other models you can get in basic ranges or 5 packs or whatever, but these are the exclusives to the packs. One is this Ford Transit, this BF Goodrich Ford Transit, which I think looks fantastic. It's a model that I don't know if we're going to see in the basic range again, only because it's got so much metal in it, and I'm sure glad they haven't changed it to plastic, and hopefully it stays that way. And the other is this Olds Vista Cruiser, and I am so happy to see this one back in the lineup. It's been several years since we've seen it, and I'm so glad that it's done in a very stock version with the wood paneling on the lower part of the car, and in a very kind of a mustardy, dull yellow. I think this is a fantastic model, and so we're going to get into the Vista Cruiser a little bit today. Now, this is the 8th version. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, the 8th version of the Vista Cruiser. But in my collection, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think 12 or 13 different versions, because the first edition came in all kinds of variations, and we're going to break into that a little bit now. So that is the 2016 or 15 9-pack version, but let's just walk through real quickly what the standard versions are. The first edition of this model is this one, the green Vista Cruiser. Now, if you look at it, this is what I love about Matchbox. It matches the 2015 version, is exactly the same in terms of tampo, because that's what it should look like. Most of the Vista Cruisers had that wood paneling, but they look exactly the same. Now, I looked for any modifications to the casting. I don't see any, so I think this is exactly the same as the old version. Now, we've seen the yellow, the green. That was a 2008 model, I believe, and then we saw it again in white. Again, the same deco. And then we saw it again, I think 1 year later. Same deco, different color. And finally, without skipping over a couple of versions, but we'll get to that, we saw it in the Lesney line with different wheels, but again, the same deco, only just a little bit more detail. This one also got some rear detailing that the basic ranges have not gotten. So, and some white wall wheels, which is kind of cool too. So we've seen several versions. Now, there's a couple versions that I haven't shown yet because it doesn't have the wood paneling, but we'll get to that. So we're going to work through this, because that green version, kind of a moss green, also comes in a bright green version. Also comes in a more, for lack of a better term, puke green version. And also comes in both of those colors with the very blingy 10-spoke wheels. That's 4 versions. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different versions of it. So let's walk through this real quickly. So, give you a little bit of the background. This is how it was originally released. And you'll notice that in Hot Wheels and Matchbox, many times you'll get an early version of a model with different wheels or a different color. And what will happen is that this will start being produced, and the factory will get wind of it, or the design team will get word of it and say, hey, that's not the right color. Maybe the licensor will say, that's not the right color. So the factory was producing the first early batches of the Vista Cruiser in this kind of bright green version. And as soon as the team saw it, or Oldsmobile, or GM, I guess, saw it, they said that's not the correct color, and it got switched. So those are the early versions, and it got switched over to this kind of mossy green version, which is supposed to be the correct version. But there's such a difference between 2 of them, and I don't know if that shows up. I guess it kind of does in the video, but on the camera. But there was a shade variation which was so distinct that I wanted to pick up both of them. But then even on top of that, now here's the thing about the wheels. These are the wheels that are supposed to be on it. In the factory, as they're going through it and they're pushing through, they need to have the wheels ready to go on the models. They will not stop the line for anything because they lose money, they lose production, so on and so forth. So a lot of times if they run out of the wheels, and they ran out, and this was, I don't know if it was documented, but it was very obvious, they might have run out of these tri-spoke wheels, but the line had to keep going, and so what wheels did they have lying around? Well, they had these 10-spoke wheels that they normally put on sports cars, and they started putting them on. Now, the Oldsmobile wasn't the only version. There were other cars that had the same issue, and you saw different kinds of wheels showing up on all kinds of different models at the time. Anyway, so that means we have bright moss, we have the kind of pukey, we have the regular, and then we have the 10-spoke. But with the 10-spoke wheels, and we'll get that clear, we also had both variations. We'll get these off of here. In the shade variations on the 10-spoke wheels as well. So that's two versions of the two colors of the tri-spoke, two colors of the 10-spoke. You can kind of see, I'll move these off to the side, and you'll see like, oh, you can see these matching colors here. And you see it just doesn't stop. So there's 4 versions there. Then, on top of that, the recolor in 2009 was this white version that I've already shown you. But that also had the same issue. When they were producing, they ran out of wheels, and so there also was a bling 10-spoke wheel on the Vista Cruiser. Now, people hated the 10-spoke wheel on it. Well, it doesn't work, but my goodness, it's more fun because it has a little variation to collect. I don't mind it at all, you know, as long as they have the correct version as well. So we had 2 versions of that, and we get even more fun. Remember this version, the original kind of bright green? Well, a very few number, in fact just one as far as I know, was found with different wheels. With the disc wheels, this was found somewhere in the Midwest by a collector, and I was able to work a deal for him to send that to me, and it came carded. I have the pictures documenting it, but I'm a DLM collector. I like it all loose, so I opened it and had a little crack in the blister too, but it's been fully inspected. That's a legit variation or error, whatever you want to call it. Maybe someone in the factory having a little bit of fun, but that disc wheel version is legit, and as far as I know, it's the only one. When I got that and I found all these other versions, I really loved collecting the Vista Cruiser, so I found some others, like a no tempo error. It's only one-sided, but I had the no tempo error on the 10-spoke. Also found a no tempo error on the tri-spoke wheels. And then the most bonkers error I found in store is this one, with the 10-spoke wheels on the back, and for some strange reason a Hot Wheels white wall wheel on the front, and that matches on both sides. The wheels are kind of beat up, and again, I don't know if this is someone just having a little bit of fun in the factory, but it did make its way to the Walmart in Linden, Utah, and I was shocked to pull that one. And it's one of my favorite errors, if not my favorite error in the collection. So that's just 1 year of the Vista Cruiser. After that, we saw a 5-pack version of the I think it was a camping set. Didn't have the wood paneling, but it had the trim, and even this one even got a rear deco on it. Maybe that's because they didn't put the wood trim on it. Put some, in fact I can go in closer on this. They put some, so you can see that, some bumper stickers on the back there. So anyway, let's get that back here. That's the camping version. That was, I think, 2009. Then there was this also, I think was a 5-pack version. And this one was kind of cool because it's just plain red. There is nothing on it at all. Just plain red. No deco at all. I kind of like it that way. Then a 2011 version, which is also, at first glance, is just plain blue with no deco, except for the windshield. Let's try and get, there you go. Well, there. Why don't we just do it this way? Yeah. I'll just move in on it a little bit. But you can see it has a for sale sign in the windshield. It says Vista Cruiser, low mileage, for sale, and if I look at it closely, dogs not included, make offer. There you go. There's, well, still can't there if I cover it up the light. But there you can see it. And of course there's the dogs in the back, which pay homage to the old Mercury Cougar wagon from Matchbox, and is also a way to put a rivet in the rear part of the car without having to put a post all the way back up. So the dogs actually serve a purpose if you're wondering about the dogs in the back. Lastly was this version, which I showed you from the Lesney line. This one is a real nice version because it has a metal base and it has the disc wheels, which I like. And lastly now is the 2015 version. I think there's a ton of potential for this model, and with Matchbox returning the way it is to all kinds of fun things, I'd like to see several versions of this kind of re-emerge into the main line, and hopefully we see it. Pace car, the pace car from the is it the Indianapolis 500? I can't remember, but in that Hearst livery, I think would make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. It's a fun car to collect. You can get one in the 9-packs. And if you look, and I'll put a link down below in the comments, you can find them on eBay. Talk to you later.